Hello and welcome to the Burning Metal podcast. We're having a gaming special for this week. It's just something I wanted to bring into the brand, just to, every now and again, just do something different to bring members of the Irish metal community on. And I'm joined for this one by Michael Cass, Michael, also known as Cass. I'll be referring to him as Cass from here on in, of Ren Marabou and the Berserkers, who have had a very productive couple of years. You've toured Scandinavia with Hate and Vader, and you've Siege of Limericks, and you're working away the whole time. You're happy. How are you things anyway, Mike?
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
Anything coming from Ren and the Berserkers at the minute, or
None I can actually mention yet. It's all
so that's good. There's something happening.
little discussions and all, but there's a couple of big announcements coming up soon. So
Oh, very good, very
maybe
good.
just up there anyway. But yeah,
So that
good few Irish gigs coming up anyway. I'll just say that.
very good, very good. And I'm also joined by Mario of the new project that was going to become a live project now, Piano Black. How are things, Matt?
Yeah, and thanks for having me, man. I'm great. Thanks. Glad to be here.
No bother, and I think it's fitting we've got someone called Mario on a gaming podcast.
Yeah, I guess so.
And of course, you made your live debut there recently, and you've been competing in the Metal to the Masses very soon.
Yeah. So we're working on our debut album. All the songs are written, and we're recording them at the moment, and working with actually one big producer in metal community, world renowned producer, but we're not allowed to say who he is at the moment. But in due time, we'll reveal everything. So good times ahead. So
very good, very good. And of course, I'm also joined by Christian of The Magnapinna. How are things, Matt?
How's it going?
Not too bad. I have to say, the Siege of Limerick, that has to be one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. How the hell did you all do it? 10E on stage.
It's a lot of organization and very little space. You literally had to stay exactly where you're planted for the duration of the gig. But it was great. We're glad it came off as well, you know.
Oh, really? I've met Howard afterwards, and I said to him that should not have worked as well as it did.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous beforehand, all right, but happy with the result for sure.
Oh, it was a great day, and of course, the Magnapinna are always working away on something, aren't you?
Yeah, we're kind of writing music at the moment, and we'll have another big band gig coming in March, at the end of March in Cork, TBC.
Oh, very good, very good. So everyone here is all very active going forward into 2024. So it's good to have people that are active in the scene going for this up. And we shall kick off. And I don't think there's probably a better place than Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. You're going back in time there. Who wants to have a word about that?
I think it was released before I was born, actually. So
it was. This came out in 1981. It was released.
Yeah, so it was before I was born. But I played it on geez, I don't remember now. I think it was Atari. I played it on Atari for the first. Yeah. So it was one of my most favorite games when I was really, really young. That one, and I don't remember what was the other one. I think I have like a pirated version of Atari console, because where I live, we couldn't access the real console, so we had these ones that you can buy on flea markets that would have games built in them, and there would be around 50 Atari games in an actual console, which it wasn't genuine console, but it had the same shape, and the pads were the same and everything. But so I played most of these games on that console. So I remember I played Pac-Man most of them. So yeah, good times.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, I'm older than the game, so hard luck. I'm not older than the Atari itself now, but I'm not far off it. So anyone else got any memories of Pac-Man, Michael, or Cash, should I say?
Mostly in the arcade, I'd have played it.
Yeah.
Took a lot of my money.
Oh God, yeah.
That's good. And I think I had it for the old Nintendo as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was playing on an Antstream arcade recently. I got to the 3rd level without losing a life. I was very proud of myself.
Yeah.
Did you have any memories of it growing up, Christian?
Yeah, it was before my time as well. But definitely didn't play it on original hardware, but various kind of emulated versions of it over the years. Like Mary was saying, I think it was one of those all-in-one Atari joystick plug and play jobs that I played it on a good bit. It was like Mrs. Pac-Man, and it was like Pac-Man 3D, and there was a million clones of it and all that.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of the names of the ghosts, the 4 ghosts.
Oh, I just knew them as the ghosts, to be honest.
Yeah, like Blinky, Dinky, something, and Clyde.
Oh, I didn't even know they had names. Oh, I've learned something today. And of course, when we're talking about the Atari, well, I suppose we have to mention one of the most infamous games ever, because it crashed the American video game market at the time.
You don't.
And it was called
Wow.
E.T., the extraterrestrial itself. Did any of you ever play that?
No.
I've never played it either.
Yes.
I've seen videos.
It's unplayable.
Terrible.
Oh,
I've only seen that on Angry Video Game Nerd,
Yeah.
when he was doing a review of that, and that's where I first heard about the game. I never saw the game like in my life before that, and I've read in newspapers that I think it was like 10 or something years ago they unearthed like a part of like junkyard somewhere in the US, and there was like loads of these cartridges like being buried underneath.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to like put the cement over them and just get rid of them, all the unsold ones. So, but never played the game itself. No, it's horrible.
It's actually very hard to get a PAL copy of that. It's easy enough to pick up an American version, but the PAL copy is really, really hard. It took me years to find it.
Okay.
Didn't pay much for it in the end, but it's just so bloody hard to get. Like,
no, usually like PAL games are cheaper, way cheaper than the NTSC games in general. Should be like most of them are cheaper, but still, yeah, I guess some of them would go for a high price nowadays.
Before we touch on to the next era, did any ever see one of these? That is another thing that's really, really hard to get. A big box Atari game. That's The Empire Strikes Back.
I know the game, but I never seen the box.
That's one that's very, very rare to find an old big box one, and especially in that condition.
Yeah.
Because that's, what year is that? Jesus. What did it say?
Probably again before me.
It's proper old, anyway.
Yeah, but the big boxes didn't survive, so
Yeah,
it's mint.
It's quite good condition.
It's a collectible. I don't think it's worth fuck all, but still, it's nice to have it.
Nice piece.
And while, of course, America was going through the video game crash, it didn't happen in Europe, because the Commodore, the Spectrum, and the Amstrad they were flying, like, you know. And I just took 2 copies. I just picked up 2 Spectrum games. I put up 2. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman. 2 of probably the most better known games from that era. Did any of us see 64 or an Amstrad or a Spectrum?
No.
No, friends did all right, and I definitely had to go off a couple of those, definitely versions of them, and like Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy.
Yeah.
It leaked from that era, but never owned the hardware. Turtles is great.
Oh, I've actually played those games on NES, but never played it on Amstrad or anything. Like, I've never seen these consoles in my life.
All right,
not even up to this day. Like, no.
There you go.
Commodore 64 had the tapes.
For Commodore, actually, my friend had it.
And the Turtle was infamous because piracy was rife on those systems, because you just used 2 tape players. But with this, you had to get the book, and it had codes inside in it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And every time you tried to load the game, you had to look up a code to actually get into the game. So that was the Turtles' privacy prevention from back in the day, when you get your old cassette player, put the 2 tapes in, and yeah.
Is that the same as the NES version?
Sorry?
Is that the same as the NES version of Turtles? Or different?
It might be. I think it might be.
Yeah. The NES one is actually quite good. Like I enjoyed playing that back in the day. I think I was the first of my friends that's beaten this game with no like walkthroughs or anything back in the day. I just played it like practicing in pure skill. So I don't know, is it the same game? But that's actually quite a good game. I don't know. I like it.
Notoriously hard though.
Yeah.
Notoriously hard. And
it is hard.
So you're fucked.
Like nowadays, if I take it, I wouldn't be able to beat it like that. Like, because I haven't played it in years and years. But like back then, I could beat it like on NES, no problem. Nowadays, no.
Oh no, that'd take a long time to get back. And do you ever have any of those systems, Michael or Castro? I say.
Remember playing a Commodore 64 back in my cousin's house, but remember the Turtles game on the NES?
Yeah.
Very hard, but really, really good though. We used to just play it non-stop, like. The swimming level in it was horrible.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the hardest things I've ever
Yes,
done.
yes. Everyone doesn't like that one.
Oh, yes. And of
It's tough.
course, when we were talking about the NES, that will be the next one on the list. And of course, we have to have another Mario on, I'm afraid, Mario. But I'm going to pick Mario 3 because
There we go.
it's the best one.
That's a good one.
Go on there. Anyone want to chat about it?
Incredible. First, yeah.
It's one of my
gonna be
favorite
fun.
games of all time.
Is it?
We used to just play that
Yeah.
all the time and finish it, and we knew all the secrets and everything. Just it was just so good. And you could save as well. It was one of the first games you could save.
Mm-hmm.
I
Any
actually
thoughts on Mario?
I like my favorite one is number 2 actually, Mario 2.
Yeah, that's good as well.
Yeah, that one is really good. But this one, like I like what they put the different the costumes and stuff in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play it as much as 1 and 2, but yeah, it's a good stuff. But the 2 is definitely my favorite one of these Mario on NES.
And it's very, very different from the rest of them too.
Yeah,
Mario 2.
yeah, definitely.
Night and day, the way the jumping mechanics and everything are completely different.
Yeah. The four
You could kind of
characters.
float along in the air.
The only
with the
character I
princess.
don't like is Luigi. Luigi's horrible to play number
He
2
jumps with his legs
because he
spinning
like
around at the same time.
horrible.
Yeah, he hovers. Yeah, it's a reskin of another Japanese game.
Actually, yeah.
Doku Panic it was called.
Doku Panic. Exactly.
Yeah.
But 3, I thought was the first really formed Mario game, like the most complete one. I remember the excitement, like ahead of release at the time, and yeah, I was blown away by it. And I think it was set the stage for Mario World to follow. You know.
Mm-hmm. And next, I'm going to got 2 NES games. I'm going to keep a lot of these collections, just the 2. There's like the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 1. I had to pick out about 3 or 4 because it was just such a massive under. It was just huge. Well, anyways, another one from the NES, DuckTales. And you ever play that?
Yeah, good one. Really good game. Played Game Boy version and played NES version, and it's one of the best Capcom games of that time. Like really good game. Everything is perfect in that game. I can't say anything bad about it. Great platformer.
Go on, Christian.
I haven't played in 30 years, but can't really remember. But I know it's good.
Yeah, exactly. And you played it, of course, Mike, by the looks of your face.
Yeah. DuckTales 2 as well. They're both great games.
Never played the second one now, but I remember this. Like,
the second one is just as good.
Yeah, same good. Even the remake. I didn't play the remake. I have it somewhere on my shelf for PS3. I never played it though. Never ever. I don't know how it is good or not.
There's a remastered version, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
There's one of the controls is basically isn't it? His stick is gone. How the fuck did they manage to do that? Remaster a game and just release it broken? But then again, that's a modern gaming for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you don't release the game broken now, you think there's something wrong with it. Next up onto the Master System. And I just picked this game out because it's just one you want in your collection for notorious reasons. From Moonwalker. Just having the old Michael Jackson game in your collection, like you need to have one. And you ever play this?
I played the arcade version. Not this one.
The arcade version is actually all right, but this is dumpster fire shit. This is terrible.
Never played this one. I can't compare it.
Trust me. I seen it there for a $5 one day, and I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. And
is that like a licensed song in that? Is that a licensed song in that game, or like from the Michael Jackson, or is it just his character used in general?
No, it's got the music as well.
All right.
Oh, it's all fully licensed. Yeah, that was a big deal back in those days. And then
I think it was like the lowest rated game or something.
Sorry, say that again?
It was the lowest rated game on the Master System in the reviews at the time or something. It's like 8% or something I got.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Never played it.
That's actually quite complimentary towards it. And next on the Master System was 2 for this one. Mickey Mouse and the Castle of Illusion.
Yep.
Come on, well, Christian, you seem to remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember well. I think it's up there with DuckTales as a really complete platformer. But I have it as well. I have a copy too, but God, I haven't played it in such a long time.
Yeah.
Great platformer though.
Come on, anyone else?
Yeah, I played. My friend had a Master System back when we were kids, and he had a Master System that had a Alex Kidd built in.
Yeah.
So we played Alex Kidd game like crazy, and that one and Jungle Book. So this like Castle of Illusion is a really good game. I played like Land of Illusion and the World of Illusion, but this one is like stuck in my memory most because it's like most nostalgic for me. So it's perfect game. Also one of the best platformers on Master System.
Mm-hmm. Do you play a Cass?
I played on the Mega Drive. It was very good, I remember.
Yeah.
Don't remember much about it, but I remember enjoying it anyway.
Yeah. It's just one of those games that if you played it, you remember it, even if you don't remember it. You might be 25 years, but you'll still remember it. You remember them horrible bosses you had to fight.
Yeah.
And we're up to the Mega Drive now. Golden Axe.
Again, I played arcade version. And this one I played much later, like with my friend. I have a friend, like we quite often play retro games together. So this one we played after, but back in the day, I never played that. I only played the arcade version. It's a really good game. Like one of the best beat 'em ups for that time.
Oh yeah, without question.
Definitely. Better than number 2 and number 3.
They were all right, but this one was a
Yeah.
classic one.
Yeah.
Anyone else any thoughts on it?
Yeah, big respect for Golden Axe. Tried playing it reasonably recently and just found it really clunky and repetitive. But at the time, I mean, it was a launch game, I think, as well with the Mega Drive or the Genesis or whatever. But yeah, big respect for the series, but it's kind of its time as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's an old game now. Like
punching for the potions was the best thing back in the day. Like when you punch that gnome or whatever that is.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So that was like really, really good stuff back then.
Don't get me wrong, I love it, but yeah, I don't know, it's
getting on.
The arcade version we played once or twice, and that was far superior for sure. But obviously, home ports and all that.
And of course, you played it a good bit when you were younger, Cass. You did.
Oh yeah, done hours and hours in it. I was even playing a couple of months ago with my daughter, and she loved it. She's 7, so stands the test of time. Still good.
Oh, it stands up, and of course we have to mention Sonic. I put up Sonic the Hedgehog number 2 because that brought in Tails, and it just added another dimension to it.
For me, best Sonic game of all time. Period. The most superior game, Sonic game ever. Nothing can beat this one. I think that's enough said.
Yeah, it lived up to the hype. And it delivered. God, it's such a great game, and it's so playable. And I played it on the Master System. The Master System was my first system, and it's a reasonably different game as well, because I played it later on the Mega Drive, and I was like, whoa, this is different. So I like that they didn't just try and port down the Mega Drive version to the Master System and give the Master System users something different. So I love Sonic 2, yeah.
Because like yourself, I had the Master System first, and the Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System and the Mega Drive version were completely different as well.
Yeah, quite completely different. Yeah.
Like the Mega Drive was 100 miles an hour, and the Master System version was a lot slower, a lot more pacey, more of a platformer. Where the Mega Drive version was just like a fucking epileptic seizure waiting to happen. Like,
oh, my camera's gone crazy. I'll turn on the light. Sorry about that, guys.
All right.
Goes out of focus. There we go. I'll keep light on. It's fine.
That's good.
And there's one here, and we're going to leave that though for a few minutes.
Ooh.
It'll make sense. Aladdin. Aladdin.
It will be, if I have to choose 10 best games of all time for me, that will be one of them in my top 10 best games of all time. I used to come to my mom's work back in the 90s, and she had back in the day, it was like these PCs, like really old PCs, and she had that game and Lion King on that PC, and I just have really fond memories of playing that at her work. And it was black and white. It wasn't even in color. It was just black and white PC version, and same for the Lion King. So one of the best games of all time for me. I've beaten this game like millions of times. I play every year at least once. So yeah, good stuff.
Anyone else got any memories of it?
It's the same as the the SNES version, right?
It's different. It's different. SNES is different.
Different game. Yeah. So I never played the Mega Drive version. No.
It's one of those classic platformers, notoriously hard, but once you figured it out, it was just really, really good. Like,
yeah.
The SNES one was done by Capcom, and this one was done by Virgin, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the cover, so yeah, cool.
Right, and of course, now we've quickly turned on to the handheld era. We started around then. Of course, we'll have to start with Tetris. Don't have the box now, but I have the manual and the thing itself. The cartridge, should I say.
Most recently beaten game by a young kid in the US.
Yeah, a 13-year-old young lad. He was streaming online, and he got the glitch. He bet it. Like, apparently he couldn't feel his hands near the end.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know the technique they use to play Tetris. I've seen it online, but it's crazy. Like, I never tried it, but it looks really, really really crazy to master.
Like competitive Tetris, is it?
Yeah.
That's like I've seen stuff. That's insane. But it's so cool in shopping centers growing up, and suddenly there's a Game Boy and Tetris, and you just walk up and play it. It's my first experience with it, and
it's really good for your brain too. Apparently, if you play it once.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Tetris is really. We had those like flea market handheld games that you buy, and it will have build out like Formula 1, Tetris, and stuff in that. So you would play. Like we brought it around as a kids and just played, outside, and it would be like 2-3 games on it. I know we played Tetris a lot, all the time as a kid.
It was very popular. It's not really as popular now, but it still has a following. Like,
yeah. Not back as in early 90s, but definitely it's classic. It will forever be classic.
And now we will move on to the superior handheld from that era, the Game Gear.
Yeah,
and we'll go with Streets of Rage.
It's a very good port of the Mega Drive version. A very good port of the Mega Drive version.
It was. The Game Gear was basically a Master System.
Yeah, it was class. Yeah. I only had them in later years and not one at the time, but I don't know if I've played the Streets of Rage version, but the Game Gear is a great console.
Especially if you get them now, you can get them with magnified screens on them now, so they're even better.
Yeah, you need to get a lot of them recapped because the capacitors fail, and one or two they turn on, but the screen won't turn on, kind of thing. But if you get them remodded, and you got a lovely piece of kit.
Yeah, but for its era, it was just a really, really, really good machine. Like,
oh, it's amazing.
We've seen the Game Boy, and we thought, oh wow, we can play games in your hand. Next thing, the Game Gear came along, and you're like, whoa, what the hell is this? Full color and everything. Like,
yeah.
Did you ever play on Mike or Cass, should I say?
We did not have access to Game Gear when I was a kid, so I never ever seen one in person. I played all these games through the emulation later just to catch up on it. But Streets of Rage, I played it that one for Game Gear, but only through the emulator. I played only the Genesis one. Yeah, this one I haven't seen.
I used to play loads on Mega Drive.
Yeah,
2-player was just awesome, Yeah. And I think, was it the first one or the second one where he gets a boss at the end and he gives you a choice to join him or fight him? And if one of your guys fights him and one joins him, you have to fight each other. And if you both join him, the game ends. Or if you both fight him, you have to fight him. It was like very interesting. You had 3 or 4 different endings. It's one of the first games I ever done that.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time, like.
Yeah.
Because the programming in those days would be a lot more difficult to do than it would be now, like. Especially with bigger things.
Mm.
And of course, now we shall go on to another era. And you're going to fucking either love me or hate me for this, but this is a factory sealed copy of Mario Kart from 1992.
Oh,
nice.
That's rarer than hen's fucking teeth.
Yes.
It's worth some money, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think 500.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nice. Factory.
Well, and anyways, who wants to talk about Mario Kart first? Because I know everyone here will have loved this.
Believe it or not, I actually my favorite Mario Kart is on N64. That one is that's my all-time favorite one. This one I played we had like a there was like a place where you can just go and pay per hour and play SNES games. It was mostly SNES games, and so I've only played it there. I never actually played it like at home or anything back in the day, so I don't really have a lot of memories of it, unfortunately. But I definitely appreciate the game in general. It's like it was breakthrough game for racing back in the day.
Yeah, I remember the lads used to come around to my house and we'd nearly get into fights playing the battle mode against each other. You have memories of a Christian, you have, yeah?
Yeah. I went on to SNES after Mega Drive. The Master System. And Mario Kart was a major factor of it. Just mentioned their battle mode, just so much crack, like, and I mean, I think with the Mode 7 scrolling, it was a kind of bit of a breakthrough game, and it spawned again a whole genre of karting games and stuff. And it was original. I think it's still really playable. I crack it out every now and again, and just really enjoy it. It's so much fun. It's really precise. It's a bit unfair, and when it gets harder, it's just like the difficulty level is just brutal. But it's a really balanced. It's a really fun racer, and I have a lot of fun memories of that game for sure.
I have a lot of fond memories, but I had that Rainbow Road track. That nearly got me. That nearly put me in tears a few times in pure frustration when I was a kid, because you'd be so close to getting the win, and next thing someone would knock you off the track and you'd end up 8th, and you'd just get so fucking angry, like.
Yeah, I just get hammered down the line, like. Well, yeah.
Go on, Cassie, have you any memories of it?
Yeah. We used to play it a good bit. I only had a Super Nintendo for a while, so it was mostly a Mega Drive for me. Yeah, I've played loads of the newer Mario Kart too. The Mario Kart 8 is just amazing. Like, I think it's 96 tracks now with all the DLC and all.
That's the latest one, yeah.
Yeah, the newest one, and it's 30 or 40 characters too, so it's just amazing. But
I had that.
Started that off, like.
I had it, and I had the Nintendo Switch, but I gave it to my nephew. He really wanted a Switch, and the father was like, "I'm not spending all that money on him. He's too young," and I just gave him the Switch because I knew he wanted it.
Yeah.
Look, I was just sitting in there most of the time anyway, so like all my fucking gaming stuff, I've got everything I wanted as a kid, and no time to actually play them.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, like back in the day, it was either like
and I can't play with them.
I just wanted to add, like back in the day, it was either Mario Kart, F-Zero, like between those two, or Biker Mice from Mars. Like either, like we kids would play either one of these three. Like
F-Zero,
mostly Mario Kart. Yeah, F-Zero was similar.
All-time favorites. Love that game.
Yeah,
and Street Racer as well was another one that used to get a lot of play in too.
Right.
It was a similar type of game, but it was good crack, like. And next on the Super Nintendo list, Zombies Ate My Neighbor.
Great game. It was a top-down, scrolling, shooting all directions. Good humor, good crack. Really, it's kind of a standalone kind of. It's kind of one of the only versions of that kind of game on the Super Nintendo as well. Savage, really good crack.
Very hard.
Lots of sound bites in it as well. I remember that at the time.
Oh, there was, yeah. It was pure B horror heaven.
Yeah.
Anyone else ever played? Did you ever play Mario?
Oh yeah, I played it. I played a game, and like it is good humor and the graphics are really like nice, colorful. But I was never into that genre of games in general, like these puzzle games. Like I'm not really interested in those, so I didn't really put a lot of efforts into the game. In general, I played it though.
And you played it, Michael, anywhere, Cash, should I say?
I remember it's tough. Like I think we only finished first level a couple of times. I really loved it. Like, and good humor in it too. Like, it's good game, but tough.
It was a big favorite of mine back then because it was such a challenge. Like, you were going to get your money's worth out of it. And I had a game from earlier that I'm going to bring in now in a second. But for the Super Nintendo area, Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. That game was just an arcade fucking money eater back in the day.
Yeah, hard as hell in arcades.
Yeah. the best conversion of Super Nintendo, best home conversion anyway, I think.
Oh yeah.
That was, and again, there was another one. It was another, like Mario 2. That's the excitement of that. It was like the killer app almost at the time. Like, and the Mega Drive version was not so bad, but you didn't have the same layout button wise.
Yeah, you had to have the 6-button
oh,
controller.
It's still so playable. Like, it's precise, it's fast, it's not, a little bit of slowdown, but like it was just as close to the arcade as you could have gotten at the time. It was just amazing. Like, it was so pumped. It was so pumped in the magazines as well. Like, and like every character, the original lineup, like I think it just became these huge icons of gaming. After, like, maybe with the exception of Dallas CM now and a couple, but when they added the bosses on, the extra 4 players there was fantastic. Such a game.
Who was your player?
Guile for a while, and then I swapped back to either Ken or Ryu.
Yeah, I was always Ken. He had a better Dragon Punch.
Yeah, Ken. I like Ken for a bit of fucking cheekiness in him. Like,
You got any memories of it, Mario?
Yeah, I played arcade version. I played SNES. I have actually cartridge myself. For SNES. Sorry. Yeah, it's a great game. Like, the arcade one was hard as hell. As you said, it was money eater. And as Christian mentioned, like, it was definitely the best. The SNES version was definitely the best part of the arcade game at the time. Back then, they did a really great job on it. We had loads of fun playing with friends. And my favorite was Ryu. I always played like with Ryu. So it was Ryu or Ken for me, but mostly Ryu. Good stuff. One of the best fighters at the time.
Any thoughts, guys?
Classic like him. Not much else you can say.
And I held back this Mega Drive game on purpose. I have it all. I have them all in here, but I just took out one. Which camp were you really in? Was it Street Fighter or was it Mortal Kombat? Because back then they were like the fanboys of each were like at war with each other. Which was the best? Was it Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 2?
For me, Mortal Kombat, definitely. Mortal Kombat for me.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, definitely.
Street Fighter 2 is better than Mortal Kombat 1, but Mortal Kombat 2 is a really good game.
Yeah.
But I was already ingrained in the Street Fighter camp at that point, but I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat. But,
I was the same. As you say, Street Fighter 2 was better than Mortal Kombat 1, but Mortal Kombat 2 just took it up a level.
Yeah.
And some of the fatalities were nuts.
Yeah, more violence.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I seen the first one and Sub-Zero pulling their man's head off, and I was like, what the fuck am I after seeing here? Like, the spinal cord hanging out, like.
Yeah.
All these little 12-year-olds in the arcade trying to pull some other's heads off, like.
Yeah.
The good old days. And then, of course, we move on to the next era. We're going to go on to the N64, and we'll start with GoldenEye. That's a classic, just for being one of the first ever real online, like multiplayer games, should I say?
Yeah, one of the best N64 games. I also have a copy myself, and great fun in 4 players. Just great fun. Like at the time was revolutionary shooter for us. We played that and Turok, was hard as hell. Because the levels were huge, and this one was more like straightforward, more passable and everything. So, yeah, great stuff. One of the best N64 games.
It's mad thinking back that before lads playing on a 14-inch television.
Yeah, quarter.
Yeah, which corner are you in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like something like what we look now at the Zoom chat, like 4 players.
Pretty much the same thing, yeah. And I'll give you this one, Christian, because it sounds like something you'll be all over.
Oh.
The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
No, yeah, that's my genre. I only played Ocarina of Time about 10 years ago for the first time. By the time it came to N64, I jumped ship from Nintendo and gone to PlayStation. So, really good, and I really enjoyed it. 15 years after the fact, I loved the SNES Zelda. Was it Link to the Past?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the Game Boy one as well, Link's Awakening. All about it, and some of the early ones in the NES, but only a latter day experience for myself. Still amazing. That was actually the last Zelda game I finished, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of hours in them.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about the N64, we have to kind of talk about Super Mario 64.
Mm.
It looks terrible now, but at the time it was groundbreaking.
Yeah, it was something else. I remember seeing the ad on TV for that game. They were trying to show Super Mario in 3D for the first time, and we were like, okay, this looks crazy. Yeah, and they were just showing the first level with that I don't know what they're called, you know, that big black heads with teeth.
Oh, well, or something.
Yeah, so they were just showing that part of the first level when he goes towards that head and stuff like that. Was crazy.
The giant chain dog.
Yeah. So nowadays it doesn't hold up that much, but it's still revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
First 3D Super Mario.
Yeah, I think they pulled it off.
I didn't get playing that for a good while after it.
Yeah.
The controls these days are very hard. I found the controls and Sunshine as well just don't really hold up that well. But between that and Ocarina of Time, it kind of showed everyone how to do 3D properly. There's a lot of games tried it and failed, and they kind of set the way.
So I mean, Ocarina of Time was hard and long, but it was baby compared to how hard the Majora Mask was. Majora Mask was really hard, especially with that time limit and that moon coming down stuff. That was like much more stressful. And in general, the games on N64, let's be honest, N64 controller is not really good. No. It's so weird to play on that thing. The buttons everywhere. So yeah,
it worked for GoldenEye.
Yeah, but some games are so awkward.
Yeah, that was kind of bad. That was what put me off it at the time. Was the controller? I played it at a friend's house, and I'm like, nah, I'm not feeling this at all.
But like with Ocarina of Time, I think it was only something I played about 10 years ago, and I felt it was fine. It was really enjoyable, and I thought the music was cool, and like the idea behind it, and the story was great. But I thought they pulled it off.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't play those 3DS versions, whatever. Ocarina of Time, I don't know how they hold up, but
they're very good.
Oh yeah, good.
They're better than the originals. They've cleaned up the graphics and kind of made a few improvements. So
okay,
they do play a lot better. Yeah.
Are they both on 3DS or just the Ocarina of Time? Is Majora's Mask?
Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah. Like Majora's Mask, they clean up a lot of stuff. You have a proper notepad now, and it keeps track of all the timelines and all the interactions and all that. So it really helps a lot.
Cool.
Very cool.
Good stuff.
And next, we're going forward another era now, and one of the most important eras in gaming, the original PlayStation. And I couldn't figure out which one to go with first, so I just said we'll go with this one, Resident Evil 2. This absolutely fucking blew me away when it came out first. I got a demo disc of it with a magazine, but it was only as far as the police station, and I was just like, I have to own this. Genre defining.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably the best one.
It's my favorite anyway.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Resident Evil 4 is very good as well too.
Yeah, so I have the same game. I have the copy myself, and yeah, for me, best Resident Evil game of all time. And also going back to top 10 games of all time, that would be on the list. That game is just it's really short nowadays. Now I can beat it in one sitting. Back in the day when I was a kid, it seemed much longer. Now the game is like really short, but amazing. Like everything is amazing. The story, the characters, the environments, everything. So one of the best horror games of all time.
Yeah, there was a few things that got you caught, like with the giant alligator. You had to try and spot the gas tank on the way in.
Yeah,
that alligator got me a few times before I copped that tank, I can tell you.
load of jump scares.
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
twice the game of the original. But I'm like a hook, line, and sinker with the original, which is kind of annoying. But 2 is twice the game. But I haven't played any of the remakes though. There's a few knocking around at this stage.
There is a remake, yeah.
Remake is really good, also really, really good. But
Very
this
different.
one is different. Yeah, it's also good, but this one is like the best. And let's not forget the soundtrack for this game was amazing. The music in the Resident Evil 2 is just. I mean, I'm talking about the original, and PS1, just brilliant soundtrack.
Very eerie, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point as well. It's a shift in soundtrack eras now, from like digital to, well, like from MIDI to kind of like full quality audio, full level audio or whatever, in the CD age. But like some of the soundtracks, especially from like any of these games mentioned, are fucking sensational. Where I do a separate podcast on the music of the games mentioned.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially when they're trying to escape the lab at the end, and that big like pumping orchestra happening while it's like counting down and stuff. Is like brilliant music in the game. Like really, really like suits the game in general. The only thing that I don't like is how they mixed vocal to music ratio, because in a lot of scenes when they talk, the music is hell loud. You can't really hear what they're trying to say underneath. So yeah,
bad mix.
It's like crazy.
A classic though.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have another classic. Metal Gear Solid, the original.
Oh, yeah.
Burr, burr. The noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The box.
Come on, who's going to jump in there?
Come on, somebody else. I don't want to be the first.
Yeah, man. Oh man, again, there was another another killer app. Like I keep saying that, but like it was like the crown, the jewel in the crown of the PlayStation there, and whenever it came out, it's 97 maybe. But yeah, it was like stealth movie. You're like really in it. It was the Prime Kojima. It was like I couldn't afford it at the time. I think I rented it on a Friday and I had it done by Sunday or whatever, but didn't care that it was such a short game. It's just such the atmosphere, the controls, it's just so well done. I really felt a part of something bigger that was happening or whatever, like at the time. Like it was just an exciting game to play, and it was so cool. And it looked really good. You look at the sprites now, you're just like, wow. But you really felt immersed in it, and it was new, and it was the first time. Well, like there had been stealth games before, the genre was there, but it was just executed so perfectly, and the voice acting was great, and the soundtrack, and just it was like playing a movie without being like a gammy video or video movie or something from the Mega CD or something. This is, being in it or something. Great game.
And we had to swap over to controller port 2 when you were fighting Psycho Mantis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't I read your mind?
Storyline as well. That was so cool. And the codec, you've been taken out of the cinema into the radio, talking to the colonel or whoever on the codec was cool. It's awesome.
All these like small details they put in a game. If you call like Colonel 10 times, he tells you like get off, like you're boring, but whatever, all these details they put in the games, or like as you mentioned, swapping controller or whatever, or like dog pissing on a box and then you can walk to where the wolves are. Like that was never seen before in the games. So that's classical Kojima. Like he was always a visionary, puts weird stuff in the games, and yeah.
In its way, it's like a 3D platformer, you're getting through the level and getting to a boss, but like, and these are kind of wild bosses, like they're just crazy, but if you're doing it in a 2D plane, it's just like, you're just sneaking away through a level and you get to this crazy boss at the end. But just so well done from the cinematic perspective.
Crazy. Or like when you smoke and you use sniper and your hand doesn't shake and stuff like that. That's the crazy stuff.
Pop some diazepam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you used to pick up a cigarette to get the red the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so clever.
Oh, it was just a masterpiece for its time.
Yeah.
And now you'll either know this one and love it, or you'll never have heard of it. But I'll put it in anyway. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey.
For this one, I have to go first again. That's also one of the top 10 of all time games for me. What can I say? I played the demo that I got with PS1, and that game was in demo, and just the atmosphere and the world itself just blew me away. Even nowadays, I think it's one of the best atmospheres, or like what I would say, like those other planet games. Like it reminds me of Another World for Genesis. So, but much better scale, and like it's perfect, like from the start to finish. Same as Ape Exodus. So these two games are like one of the best games of all time for me. Nothing to add, really.
Follow me. Okay.
Yeah, the great gameplay. Like the worlds are amazing.
Yeah, it was freaky as well too. Even though it was like when you could possess the bad guys and you get them to shoot each other and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It was I think Mario covered it perfectly there, but when we played the demo, and I think again it was another rental job, but I loved it as well. It was so cool. Puzzle platformer, again atmosphere and looked the part. Great game.
The background's perfect, like everything that's behind you, like the forests, the temples, it's just crazy, like how good it is.
It's very much an evolution of Another World and flashback, those kind of quality platformers from that era.
And next, a game that I put it in because it just, when I was never really the biggest racing game person. I like some, obviously, but this one, it came out and I played it the first time. It blew me away because of all the licensed music in it and everything from the Prodigy and whatnot. Wipeout 2097. That was just, I remember when I played that the first time and the Prodigy and whatnot in the background, you're like, holy, what, you know what, this is amazing.
Future Sound of London.
Yeah.
Sensational. I was wondering what you're going to say. Is that going to be that or Gran Turismo? But huge game. That's a huge game. That's fantastic. Love Wipeout.
Yeah, I have Gran Turismo in there, but I just picked out that one because
the speed and this, it was so cool as well. You know, and it was sponsored by Red Bull back in '97. There was it was an incredible soundtrack, an incredible game. Kind of PlayStation's version of F-Zero. It's so cool. Like.
And I'm going to be picking on you again, Christian.
Oh, man.
And this is another one you'll probably hate me for. Like it's not quite Mario Kart level, but this is a factory seal copy of Final Fantasy VII.
Ooh, that is nice. Wow, that's more than the Mario Kart. That's savage.
I don't know how much it's worth, but it's
factory sealed.
Factory sealed Final Fantasy VII.
My copy is battered.
Mine too. Yeah.
How much do you think I paid for this?
Fuck. €300.
30.
What?
It was in a fucking shop one day, like an odds and sods shop, and it was there in the window for 30 quid. Your man thought he was gone to a winner. He got 30 quid for a game. Thankfully, he didn't know what he had.
Missing a zero. Fucking hell. Very nice.
Good stuff. One of the best Final Fantasy games in general. Story and everything.
And we'll just briefly touch on the evolution of handheld before we kick on to the nitty gritty now. Of course, we've touched on the Game Boy. Of course, we had the Game Boy Color. I just picked out Harry Potter just because it's a Game Boy Color game. And of course, there was the Game Boy Advance. And what's the name of this one? Fuck, can I open it? Gunstar Heroes. Another classic game for that era. And then you had the PSP, and I just picked out Ratchet and Clank. Just because, and then, of course, we've mentioned, of course, the Switch earlier. And then, of course, you had the PS Vita, which was another absolutely amazing system at the time. And you even had an exclusive Resistance game on it, which was like PS3 level quality. Like,
They also had Uncharted game that was also exclusive to Vita. Uncharted Golden Abyss, I think it's called. Yeah, that one is like really, really good.
Never got my hands on a Vita, but played a lot of PSP. But
cool little systems there.
Vita is like one of the systems that doesn't have emulators still. Like no proper emulator. Like they can't make it. I don't know why, but like it's one of the rare systems that doesn't have a working emulator.
It's very hard to emulate the N64 as well, though.
Yeah, but like that one, there are like good ones that you can play games normal, but Vita, as far as I'm aware, they don't have it still. They even made like one for Switch and not for Vita. That's crazy. Like, and the Switch one works perfectly. So yeah.
And of course, we have to mention the Sega Saturn. And I just picked out one game for that, and I just picked out Sega Rally Championship because it was just that the game that everyone kind of associate. Well, not everyone, but the Saturn didn't really do that well. It was a good system, but it didn't take off.
No, notoriously hard to develop for, but had some great games on it.
Yeah, PS1 competitor, but PS1 like destroyed Saturn in general. But I don't know, Saturn, like, again, I've never ever had any contact with Saturn except seeing pictures in magazines. It was so unknown back when I was young, and in Croatia, where I come from originally. Even Dreamcast, we only seen pictures. So like PS1 was everywhere, but that's about it. Saturn never ever had contact with it.
And before we touch on giving our mention to the Dreamcast and a bit of Quake 3 Arena. That was one of those classic multiplayer games from back in the day. Anyone ever play Quake back in the day?
You played with Quake, but not on Dreamcast.
It was on PS1 also, I think.
PS1,
Quake 2, yeah.
A bit of PC, but that was kind of the end of my PC gaming days as well. But Quake was great. And fast act, super fast, and super, it was great.
The Dreamcast was a real shame because that was a brilliant console.
It was Sega's last hurrah, like, but and you know, as Mario said, like Saturn was destroyed, and it was pretty rare in Ireland as well. I remember already really seeing one or two at the time, and I got one years later, and it arrived and it didn't work. So I still have it. But the Dreamcast I thought was a really savage system. Shenmue and Crazy Taxi and you know. There's some really odd games on there as well, like, you know, and Fantasy Star Online was kind of an ambitious thing. I was, you know, but like apart from Shenmue, really, it was, you know, the Sonic game, Sonic 3D, Sonic 3D Adventure, savage, you know, another kind of would they be able to pull off 3D Sonic, and they did. Like, can't remember what they did in the Saturn or something, but there wasn't any real acclaim around it. But yeah, good system.
Jet Set Radio was another great one as well.
It was super Japanese as well. You know, it didn't really land over here a lot for a lot of people.
Never seen it in my life. Back then, no. Never.
Did you ever have any of those systems, Cass?
No, kind of after Mega Drive, I don't know anyone who owned a Saturn or a Dreamcast, so I've never actually played any of them. I've played a couple of emulators in them, but wouldn't be too knowledgeable about them.
And then, of course, got two here for the GameCube, and before we're moving on, one of my all-time favorite games, just for the shits and giggles, I always found it very amusing. The Simpsons Hit and Run. I am evil Homer. I am evil Homer. Anyone got any thoughts on that?
Only played it very briefly, but I kind of carry on to that Crazy Taxi vibe and kind of like bit of Crash Bandicoot as well, like, you know, but really, yeah, I'll remember this as being really fun, but I'd say I played it once.
Yeah, I've only seen the game, never properly played it. I played the Simpsons game that came after, like the Simpsons game. But this one, no, I haven't.
It's good. It's just good fun. It's probably after about 3 hours you're bored of it, but them 3 hours are amazing. So it's worth the $5 or whatever you pay for it now.
Yeah.
And another one from the Zelda world, the Legend of Zelda: The Wind Maker for the GameCube. I might say most of you never played that.
No.
Yes.
I did play that one, but I know this game has been re-released like so many times nowadays. I don't even know for how many collections and HD remakes, whatever. But it's a good game, really good game. Like best Zelda at the time.
The GameCube was a bit like the Saturn and the Dreamcast. It just didn't land.
No, unfortunately.
I never played it, but I was in a house who had a GameCube, and I watched a lot of it in college. I haven't played it. Looks great though.
It's one of the best sellers.
Yeah.
A lot of people are upset with the style of it, the shaded
I thought
style.
it looked great.
It holds up so well now. It still looks so great.
It was more
Plays so great.
cartoony, like, but it's good, like good stuff. And it looks more like a cartoon than what would you be used to it? But good stuff.
Great game, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're up to the PS2 era. And this was one of the most revolutionary shooters when it came out at the time. Did any of you ever play Black for the PlayStation 2?
I own that game, but I never ever played it still.
I got about maybe 15 minutes through it, but I know it's held in high regard.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they you could demolish walls and all this kind of stuff like.
Yeah, breakable atmosphere or breakable environments and stuff.
Yeah.
Look really polished.
Definitely will play it in the future.
I think it's kind of like everyone kind of says it's like, you know, like the first excellent shooter on PS2 or something like that.
Oh, you can still play it on Game Pass if you've got an Xbox. Like, I fucking believe it. An ice cream van.
There we go. Grab
That's
some.
unsettling.
At this time of the day.
I know.
Ice cream. What the hell?
Fucking
In January.
Cold and dark, and the ice cream van arrives. Next on the PlayStation 2 list, a bit of Half-Life. I assume you've all played that.
Played it on the PC. Good game. Good game. Also was one of the best shooters at the time. We did have lots of fun with it. Was also a challenging game back in the day.
A story game too. I also played it on the PC, rather than PlayStation 2. But yeah, savage.
No, never seen PlayStation version actually.
Yeah, it's hard enough to find. And of course, we might as well talk about both together in this situation because they're both iconic of that era. Vice City and San Andreas. Which one would you pick? I find it very hard to pick one or the other because I think they're in their own way. They're both amazing. Like,
yeah, incredible. I don't know. I like the sleazy vibe of Vice City, but spend a lot of time in both those places.
The only thing I didn't like about Vice City is the fact you couldn't swim.
Actually, you couldn't. Yeah, I don't remember that anymore.
That.
Yeah, that was a great frustration when you. But they
were just that alone. San Andreas should edge it.
All the voice actors and all the songs and the radio station, like flying around Vice City listening to "Bark of the Moon" by Ozzy Osbourne.
Stations are fast. The radio station, the music, I mean, that was just a vibe in its own, like just driving around, like, man, a lot of time in both those games.
Like, I remember I played the original back in the day, and I thought, yeah, it's a bit of crack for 20 minutes, you know, going around just killing cops and stuff. And next thing I got my hands on Vice City, and I was just like, wow.
I remember playing the demo of GTA or whatever, and I was Grand Theft Auto. I remember playing the demo and like, this is brilliant, and you know, I never expected. I was like totally satisfied with the half-hour demo you got. So I was like, grand, I don't want to play that again. I can't believe it that it's sprawled into what it has, like, and it's incredible. I mean, it's gone through every generation. The next one's going to be just incredible. Just the scope of it, I imagine.
I'm fearful of the next one.
I'm fearful, exactly, yeah.
Not for any other reason, but will they be as insane as they used to be, or will they be made for new modern audiences who get offended by every bloody thing?
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Like that's a problem nowadays. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, like on PS1, I never got into it. You know, the one from top down. I don't know. I just my friends were playing that a lot, and I just couldn't get into those. But then Grand Theft Auto 3, where it became 3D, was actually we were mind blown, like what you can do around city, and yeah. So after that, I've completed the number 3 and the Vice City. So I would lean more towards Vice City than San Andreas. San Andreas had like loads of great new vehicles so you can drive, like trains and tractors and bicycles and whatever. So, and the map was also much bigger than Vice City. But I never completed San Andreas actually.
You didn't get the remasters, did you?
No.
I
They only
did.
came out only 2 years ago.
No.
I got them for the Switch.
They look worse than the originals. I don't know how they managed to screw it up so badly.
And they also had problem with the copyrighted music that they don't have rights to anymore, so they had to cut out a lot of songs out and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's worth really. Better to play the original ones.
Mm-hmm. We're on to the Xbox. We'll go for the original Xbox next. We're down to the last few now. And this is the only game I've ever beaten on the hardest difficulty level. I was that obsessed with it. Halo, when it came out on the original Xbox. What a game.
Yeah.
Anyone got any thoughts?
I mean, as a group shooter, that's really the only way I ever played it. I never played through the story. I only got my hands on Xbox again long after the time. So yeah, but I suppose the same vibe as GoldenEye, maybe as a a LAN party group shooter like or whatever. Savage. But again, I've never played through it.
Yeah, same as what Christian mentioned. Like the Halo for Xbox was what GoldenEye was for N64. It was that kind of energy, and even nowadays, still like even the story in general is revolutionary. It's a really good game, story driven. So still worth playing nowadays, definitely.
Oh, it's the best one.
Yeah. It
always will be the best one. The two was very good as well, but by the time the third one came along, I was just losing faith in it, and I've just it's been all right since, but they've never really recaptured it.
Yeah,
it still looks good.
They were more focused on the online going forward than they were on the story. Like,
yeah, I'd say now it's more everything now is about microtransactions and like getting more money out of the game, not just story. Like especially with these types of games, like let's go for Call of Duty games. They have amazing stories, amazing campaigns that will be like 4 or 5 hours long, and they will be like you feel like you're playing a movie. But then, like a lot of people don't even bother with that. They don't just go straight to online, and that's where the money is in these games nowadays. Unfortunately, for example, I would play all of Call of Duty games just for the great story. It would be like playing an action movie. Most of people don't bother; they just play online. Same as Halo goes that direction.
Yeah, I have all the old Call of Duty games, but I used to always wait till they were on sale for like around €15.
Yeah,
because that was what you pay for the story, because it only lasted about 5 hours.
Yeah, it's like really good story, and like the levels are really like well thought, and like especially like the older one, the Modern Warfare 2, where there's a atomic bomb falls, and then you have to go through the fallout, like a rain, like black rain and stuff. It's crazy, like really good stuff. EMP but people don't bother with that. They mostly like want to play.
Hang on a second, lads. I've got something to show you. I'm thinking of.
This is ominous.
Is it going to be Call of Duty related now with everyone on Call of Duty?
Potentially.
Seeing as you brought it up.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Call of Duty, which?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2
there we go.
Prestige Edition with the night vision goggles.
Good stuff.
And the beauty of that too is it has the game in its unedited form.
Okay.
You remember the airport level?
Yeah.
And then in the next release, after the first batch went out, you had the option to skip the level.
Yeah.
So in this version, you have no option. You have to play that level. That's actually the most valuable thing I own.
And I haven't even seen this version. I don't even know that it exists.
I found it for €60.
Really?
And it goes for like $2.5 now. Because Modern Warfare and Call of Duty is such a big franchise now. That this is one of the most beloved games. And when you have it in that format, in mint condition like this is, it can name your price for it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's big though. It's very big.
It's
really you need a bit of spare room for that yoke, I can tell you.
Stick it on there. Put on the goggles.
Sorry, Sam?
Stick on the goggles there.
Yeah, and take all this value off. I don't think so. Not that I'll ever sell it, but you never know. Right, we'll move on to the PlayStation 3 era now. And we're talking about them briefly before. Well, you have to mention Grand Theft Auto 5, don't you, for that era? Even that's still been made to re-release to this day, like.
Yeah, and notorious for how many times it was re-released for how many platforms, mobile, like whatever you name it. It was everywhere. That's crazy.
An amazing game, though.
Amazing game, yeah. But been milked up to that. Same as Skyrim now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're one the same in that regard. And yeah, this was the first one I didn't really engage with, just one where I haven't completed it and I haven't gone through the story or anything, and just kind of done with the commitment. So like just drive around, and it's the same with the next one as well. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's just the scope and how it evolves. It's just so impressive.
Mm-hmm. And I love playing as Trevor. He was absolutely insane.
Fucking nutter.
Definitely.
Grand Theft Auto, where you can do all those things in that world that you could never do in real life. Well, you could, but you'd end up in a jail or something.
Yeah. Well, some people still try though.
They give it their best shot.
Yeah.
And we touched on it, but when you're talking about that era, you have to mention Call of Duty 4. Like that changed video games forever, really, didn't it?
Mm.
Like to say about online games, like when this came out, this was just everyone was playing Call of Duty 4 back then. Like if you didn't play Call of Duty back 4 and know someone that was playing, that was like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you playing Call of Duty 4? Like,
again, great story, great campaign in that game too.
Still gets played online to this day.
The multiplayer is just it's huge, so intense. Great experience. Like, but only ever in like PC cafes or PC or internet cafes.
It's hard to believe it came out in 2007 now.
Christ, man.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long, does it?
That was a while
17
ago.
years ago, lads.
Jesus.
You don't feel old now, do you?
Well, let's say we're trying to.
That's old a while ago in this one.
Now we're down to the last handful now, because the modern systems. Most people don't even own many games for modern systems, do they? Because it's basically pointless.
Yeah, the physical thing is definitely on the dwindle for sure.
Well, the problem with the modern systems is, if like the game I'm going to show you, one of the last few, if the patches go offline, it's basically unplayable if you take it out of the box in 10 years' time and put it in.
This is it.
That's the problem. And also with Game Pass, you're just going to fucking just get the Game Pass for €15 every now and again and play extra stuff for a month and then just ditch it again. Like,
yeah, or you want to own it after they start. Like, they're stopping with Wii U and 3DS, I think, online now. Nintendo is stopping, and like all the people who bought the games online, they won't be able to access them anymore. So
yeah,
that sucks.
it's a bad future.
Can you not play offline, or
you can't even download them anymore. If you don't have them on the console, they're gone.
Okay, yeah.
That's crazy, like, So
I mean, the PS3 Dark Souls 2 servers are going offline, I think, end of this month maybe, or next month.
Yeah.
I suppose it's an eventuality, but you can still play the vanilla version, like
if you have it, yeah, but like,
or whatever you're patched up to, like, but
yeah.
And I've got 2 360 games here. This was the game that I don't know how well it stood up now, but at the time, everyone was all about Gears of War when the original 360 came out. Like, it looked so bloody good at the time. Like, it was jaw-droppingly good. Like,
vicious. But yeah, no, I never played it at the time either. I was in the PlayStation camp at that point, but it was ported there as well, wasn't it? No,
it's just the Xbox on the PC.
Yeah, it was only there.
Yeah.
I'm the same as Christian. I was PlayStation. I'm still PlayStation camp, and never played Gears of War in my life. I'm planning on, because I know they're good games, they're huge games, but never ever up to this day have I played any of them.
The first three are well worth playing. Play the trilogy.
Yeah.
Because the trilogy story of the first three it's really, really good. Really good story. Did you ever play them, Cass?
No.
No.
I've been mostly PlayStation and Nintendo from, this point going, so no, I've never got around to them.
The reason I got the 360 back in the day is because the PS3 was delayed. The PS3 came out like a year and a half after they had 360.
Mm.
And it was there on offer one day. I think it was €400 with Gears of War with it. And I was like, yeah, I'll have that.
At that time, I was
gaming.
Yeah, but I was a PC gamer at that time. I was at the university at when that was happening, and so I didn't really follow the console progress at the time. So that's why I missed most of these titles in general. I was mostly like gaming on PC, but I never played Gears of War even on PC. So
What?
I always mix that game. You know the other trilogy for PS3. What's it called? Resistance.
Resistance, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I always mix those games. I like have a association for Resistance when you mention Gears of War. Yeah.
I only played through Resistance 3 there recently, would you believe? I played the first two, but I never played the third one. Good games.
Good game, yeah.
And this now was a PS3 or whatever. It was on both systems. It was just groundbreaking. Red Dead Redemption, the first one. What a game.
Yeah.
Did you know you have to play through this twice to get the real ending?
No.
You have to play through it twice to get the real ending. But that's an achievement in itself. I've never done it, but I know people that have.
You have to have a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like how these games like really huge, and I mean it's nothing compared to the next one, to the sequel, but still it's a huge game.
Yeah, I was totally overwhelmed by the idea of it. As I said earlier with the Grand Theft Auto, like I was just like not committing. I'll go around the place and have a laugh, like, but I'm not going through the story. And that's just the way it was at the time and all that. Like, but I have it. I'd love to play it, and I have the sequel, and I haven't played it either. Like,
Oh Jesus, you haven't?
oh yeah, I know. I'm just like I'm having a complete From Software buzz anyway. So.
Well, if you were going to go back and play them, I would recommend you play 2 first and then play 1. Because 2 was a prequel to the first one.
Oh, very good. All right. Nice.
So that's the way you should play them.
Cool. All right.
I mean, that's the problem.
Last handful now.
That's the problem with modern games in general. They're just too long, and they just make huge games that takes 100 hours. And
yeah,
hard to find time for it.
Yeah, and they release them so many per year, so many big titles, and then you can't find time to do that. That's the problem. If you want to go through the game properly, like do side quests.
If a really good game comes out, I will dedicate my time to it, and even I'll play a couple hours every evening until I'm through it. Like, but that's rare now.
Yeah.
Well, it happened with that, and it happened with this, Red Dead Redemption 2. Because that game, man. They even made a South Park episode about this game. It was just so fucking over. Like, everyone in the world was playing it at the time. Like, it was just like...
You still be playing it.
Yeah. Phenomenal game.
The only thing I have against this game is the controls, because they're so complicated. They just added millions of combinations of buttons in the game with the horse and of the horse, and if you leave the game off for sometimes I leave the game off for a week, 2 weeks, then you forget how to take out the gun while riding or whatever. It's crazy, like how many control combos in the game.
Oh no, I lived that game when I got it. Just glued, coming in from work at night and playing it for 3 hours and getting a few hours sleep and back into it again. Now we're down to the last 3 or 4, should I say. For the PlayStation 4. It could be the PlayStation 3 as well, but the last was the original game.
Yeah.
That is another classic, absolute classic game. A shame about the sequel, but we won't touch on that.
Yeah, one of the best games at the time, and still holds up really, really well. Same as Uncharted games, similar formula, but really good story and mechanics in the game, like really, really fun. I'd say I'd say definitely also one of the best games of all time.
And I've gotten another notorious game. Never played it. Cyberpunk.
Oh, man.
The most broken fucking game. Up there with it's up there with ET for the modern era.
It's okay now, though.
Oh, apparently
Yeah,
it's good. Apparently it's
They've
all right
fixed
now.
it a lot. But when it came out, it was a disaster.
Rushed.
Like,
Yeah, I haven't played it. I haven't actually played it yet as well. But like, I wasn't that put off by the crash. You know, like how it was so badly broken when it was when it was released. But you know, it'll be patched and it'll be probably playable enough now. Like, you know, but it's seems like an undertaking. Like, but looks great.
Oh, I will play it at some point, but I just wanted to keep it sealed. I don't know why.
Oh well, you know.
Don't know why. I just want to keep it
Good
sealed
item.
because it's just a fucking disaster piece of history. Like,
Yeah.
never be worth anything, but you never know. Somebody might give me a $5 for it at some point.
Not a really broken one, No Man's Sky on PS4 like that. That really fixed itself, you know, and you know they really under delivered. But it's a really good game now. But God, it was a car crash at the start as well. Like,
promised too much in it, and it wasn't there. Like,
that's right, yeah. But I mean, the scope is huge, and it was just very boring, and you know, yeah, a lot of the things they said you could do, you couldn't do, and you can do them now, but it's taken like 3 or 4, well, what, 10 years almost, maybe.
Yeah. Oh. And we're down to the last couple now.
One day, definitely.
To be honest with you, I have no copy of a game here from the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X generation for reasons I mentioned. Well, I'm telling you a lie, I have one, but I'll touch that in a second. I'll just throw the two of them up together. You either know them or you like them, or you won't know them at all. We have Mad Max for the Xbox One and Terminator Resistance. Did you play either of those?
I'm more a retro gamer, so I don't really follow these modern games. I play them occasionally, but I've seen footage online, but never played them.
Mad Max, you're basically Mad Max.
It's like open world, right?
It's open world, yeah, but it's a really good game. You have to do you have to build up the car and all the rest of it. There's RPG elements to it as well. And this game is actually quite beloved, Terminator Resistance, because it's made by a company that just passion project company. And if you're a fan of the Terminator series, it's as good a Terminator game as you're ever likely to get.
Sounds savage. And
I do own one game for the new systems, and it's here in my hand. I pre-ordered it, and there's no disc. It was RoboCop. RoboCop, the game, is not physical. It's only a digital-only copy.
Unfortunately.
And that's just where we are. That's where we are with gaming now. It's such a shame. Like, have any of you played RoboCop?
No. I'm only seeing footage again online.
It's a great game.
It looks good.
It looks brutal. Like
you are RoboCop. Like,
is that like an FPS game, or is it? What style of game is that? RoboCop, is it FPS?
Oh, it is.
I don't remember anymore.
It's very slow moving though. You move like RoboCop. Like, if you see it for some point for £20, it's definitely worth picking up.
Yes,
but definitely don't go and pre-order like what you can't now. I pre-ordered it, seeing this RoboCop gun and everything, and I was like, "Oh, deadly! When am I going to get me disc and me gun?" It's all cosmetic. I was like, "What?" You know, when you pre-order, like you think you're going to get like this or like the Doom helmet or something, like you did back in the day. Oh no, you can access the game 3 days early. Aren't you happy?
Yeah, no, those days are gone now.
Yeah, and that's where we shall finish up. But now, because we've covered almost every year there of the gaming generations, like there's a couple we didn't have in there, like, but who was really got any nostalgia for an Amiga CD or a 3DO or a Atari Jaguar or something like that, you know?
The Lynx.
Lynx.
I'd like to get one of them, but they're rare.
And they're gonna fail as well, like the Game Gear as well. Like the capacitors are gone.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of handhelds in there. Oh yes, and when the notion of handhelds, before we finish up, did any ever hear of the Gizmondo before we go?
Yeah.
There's only 20,000 of these in circulation. The lowest selling system of all time. Links to the Swedish mafia and all the rest like involved in there.
Nice piece.
No, I haven't seen one. I've heard about them. Is it like it's like a rare as a Engage, or is it more rare?
Oh, this is the rarest one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine got it and he gave it to me. He said, "Oh, I've got something you like." He found it in a charity shop. And we've covered gaming now for the last 50 years, and hopefully you all had a good chat, and thanks for coming on, lads.
No problem, man.
Very
And
much.
we'll give a shout out to all your projects again before we finish up. Of course, Cass is in Red, Marabou and the Berserkers. Mario is in a project called Piano Black, who are a studio project and are going live now. You and your girlfriend formed the band together, that's correct, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Christian, you're in the Magnapinna, one of the maddest bands out there. How many members do you actually have in the band officially?
Well, it's a core of 5, but it's expanded to a base 8 piece now.
Yeah.
With room for more.
Of course, when you brought James in, of course, the brother follows along too.
Yeah.
Ah, good lads. They're good lads. I've known James of 10 years. Sound lad.
Deadly, yeah. But yeah.
Anyways, lads, thanks for coming on.
No problem, man.
very
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Thank
Cheers,
you,
man.
man.
Thanks,
All the
lads.
best. Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.